Hey everyone, I'm Mandy and welcome to my channel. Today, as you can tell by the title card of this video, I'm going to be talking about how I got into Columbia University when I applied early decision and what I did to get myself accepted, including my stats, extracurriculars, and some tips and tricks at the very end. I applied ED in November of 2019 and I got accepted by December 12th of that same year. I got accepted into the Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science. I will be majoring in electrical engineering with a minor in applied mathematics. I used the common application for my application to Columbia, but there's also the Coalition app, or you could utilize QuestBridge if you are applicable for that certain program. I'll leave those down in the description below. Let's begin with background. So I come from Idaho, a little small town in southeast area. It's a little bit of a rural, suburban type of feel, not really a lot of people, not a lot of like city-ish type of vibe. My graduating class was about 350 students. I'm Asian American, specifically I'm ethnicity-wise, I'm Chinese. So I guess that's just kind of my background. And next, GPA. So I graduated with at the time I applied, let's say that, I had a 4.0 unweighted, but I had a 4.3 GPA weighted. I was ranked top of my class. My scores, on my SAT, I had a 1530. The breakdown is English reading was 730, and I had an 800 on the math section. For the ACT, I took it about 3 times, but my eventual highest composite score that I ever got was a 33, but my super score was eventually a 34, I guess, with a 36 in English, with a 36 in math, 34 in reading, and a 31 in science. I think the biggest advice that I have on the SAT and ACT is that you shouldn't really stress about it as much as most people kind of tend to do. Really, the stats section is really just a way for you to get in the door in this college admission process. It doesn't really guarantee you anything. It just lets you in. On my AP tests, I took 4 tests junior year. I had a 5 on the AP Calc AB test. I had a 5 on the AP Lang test, and I had a 4 on AP US History, and I got a 3 on AP Chemistry. I don't know if I submitted my AP scores or not, but I think I might have just submitted my 5s. For my senior year, my schedule-wise, I had AP Bio, AP Physics, AP Government, and AP Stats. And I took dual enrollment English, and I took French 2 online. Most of these top schools require you have at least 2 years of foreign language, and unfortunately I had only gotten 1 during my first 3 years, so I had to take my second year, my senior year, but it was online. I took the Math Level 2 Physics and Chemistry subject tests. However, I only submitted my Math Level 2, which I got a 780 on. My physics and chemistry scores were not very good, so I decided not to submit those, and they were optional anyway. Next, extracurricular activities. I am not going to go into too much detail about these, but I will just say what I submitted on my Common App. I filled out 8 portions, and there's a lot of variation on what people say to how many you should fill out on the application, and honestly it is really up to you. I decided to only do 8 because I didn't really have that many extracurricular activities, and secondly I felt like it was just enough to show like the range of the activities that I had been involved in high school. So my first one, I think I put speech and debate. I did speech and debate for all 4 years in high school. My second one, I did some research at the local college during a summer before my senior year. I did some research with a grad student in mechanical engineering, and we were building a robot over the summer, so I put that second. Thirdly, I started my own math tutoring business. I was tutoring middle school students, and that was kind of like my side income kind of hustle. My fourth was, I was the captain of a science bowl, like science club team that I had started at my school, since I thought that our school needed a little more STEM involvement for its students. Fifthly, I had played piano since I was about 6 years old, so I put that on there as that was something I did weekly and was very much involved with. My sixth one was activism, so I was part of a youth group called Youth Activism Society, and I was on the board where we focused more on like local problems or local events that we hosted or helped plan or organized. And two more. I was involved in Youth in Government, which was this club at our school where we went to the Idaho Capitol in the spring, and we did like a mock government for about 3 days. So it was really, really much fun. Lastly, my last extracurricular that I listed was Natural Helpers, which was this club at my high school where we worked with counselors about learning how to like direct people to like the best resources for any issues they were having, or to help counselors be more alert to the problems in our school. And we would attend this conference in the fall. So that was just an example of the type of extracurriculars that I was involved in. Next are my honors and awards. I didn't really have a lot of them, and I didn't think they were a very distinctive part of my application, but I still listed a few anyway. I had about 5, I think. So first I was vice president for National Honor Society. Secondly, I was a National Merit Commended student. I know that's not really a huge achievement compared to like semi-finalist or finalist, but I listed it anyway. Thirdly, I had earned a level 10 certificate of achievement in piano my sophomore year, so it was like the highest level of piano performance and theory offered for kids under 18. Fourthly, I took 4th place at the state speech tournament in dramatic interpretation my freshman year. And lastly, I was district champion in public forum debate my junior year, and I was also district speech champion in after dinner speaking in my junior year as well. Next, recommendation letters. So I had 3 recommendation letters that I ended up submitting, 2 for teachers and 1 from my counselor. I ended up choosing my chemistry teacher and my AP Lang teacher for my teacher recommendations. I think they were pretty good. I had a pretty close relationship with both of those teachers. They were my junior year teachers. A lot of people say to have recommendations from your teachers in specific fields. So if you were a STEM student, to get a recommendation from your math or science teachers. I chose the 2 teachers that I really had a good relationship with in class, because they were able to talk about me as both a person but also as a student, and that was my choice, but that can vary. A lot of students really did just for humanities as well, they would choose their humanities teachers. I also had a really, really good relationship with my counselor. She was really, really sweet and helpful for me during this whole college admission process. I really, really recommend having a good relationship with your school counselor or advisor, because they really do help you. For the supplements for Columbia, I'm not going to share those, but I have a few tips for just the supplements starting off. You really have to look toward, like, write those essays, not just like in general saying like how good Columbia or like any school you're applying to is, but how like you could contribute to the school and what the school as well can do for you. You really want the admissions officers to see like you as an active member in their community and how you would utilize the resource that they give you, as well as like how you could change, what you would change or what you could improve upon for the school. Make sure to do your research when you're applying for these schools and really like look towards what classes you want to take, what professors you want to do research with, and if you write about those things, then it really shows your interest to the school. On the personal essay part, I chose the first prompt on the Common App. So I'm not sharing my essay, but I do have a really big tip on that essay, which was something my friend really emphasized throughout this college admission process. You know who you are. He always said this phrase, show, not tell. So these essays really are you telling something about yourself, and it's really a personal story as much as an essay. So now I'm going to share a few of the tips that I utilized during the college admission process. So tip number 1. During the summers before every school year, I would journal frequently. It was just kind of a habit of mine. But before my senior year, journaling really became something that I used to come up with ideas for my personal essay. It really helped me like sort out my ideas, and it also put me on like a little more of a self-discovery journey to figure out who I was as a person and what I wanted these college admissions officers to see me as, or just give an idea of what I wanted to write about. Tip number 2 was actually to read what other people wrote, and not necessarily just getting ideas off of those essays, but just looking at like the format or the ways that they used these words to show a story and not just tell a story. So a book that I recommend is 50 Successful Ivy League Applications by Jen and Kelly Tanabe. I will put that link down below as well. But I read a few of those, and it really gave me a sense of an idea of what a successful essay looked like, and it kind of helped me framed my story from there. Tip number 3 is to get started earlier on the application, which was something I hugely regret not doing, since I wrote my essay a week before the time it was due, and I was really stressed badly during that time because I was so involved with all my extracurriculars by then, and I had barely any time to sit down and write my college essays as well as work with all my schoolwork, and it was an overwhelming time, so I really wish that I had gotten started earlier. And my last tip is to choose your schools carefully. I specifically chose Columbia after doing my own research. I really wanted to be an engineer from the longest time as I can remember, but I also really wanted to maintain that key aspect of the like liberal arts, or like classes that aren't just focused on STEM, as I had done a lot of like government and debate and activist stuff during high school. So I chose Columbia because of their core curriculum, because I really was excited, and I also really liked Columbia Engineering's path forward, I guess, which is their idea of engineering for humanity, and I did a lot of research about that and wrote specifically tailored to those interests. Additionally, it was in New York City, and having lived in a small rural town for like most of my life, I really wanted a big city college experience. Not that I'm getting it right now, since I am at home doing online classes. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you can use the tips and tricks that I gave and find success in this college admission process. This is a really uncertain time, so realize that you're not alone and that your counselors or your family or your friends are always there to love and support you, and you'll be just fine, and I hope you find success.